go ahead and get yourself nice and comfy.
I'm comfy.
Well, hi, Victoria.
Hello.
I'm so excited to have you as part of this project.
I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
It was kind of a no-brainer that we were going to have you part of this.
Yes.
So let's start by letting the viewers know a little bit about you. So give us the background on who you are, where you're from.
I am Victoria Voxxx. I grew up in the Midwest, and after college, I came out to the West Coast to pursue my music and sex work career. And my life has been full of nothing but music and sex work since, which has been the most exciting and revealing journey. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about how these two paths are very much one and the same and overlap, and how one feeds the other. But mostly that I'm somebody who loves to be expressive through intimacy and vulnerability, and getting to share that. I had decided I was going to go to Las Vegas. I met a girl who used to be in the industry, and she knew that I really was intrigued and loved the sex industry and sex work, but also that I did not have the hustle to be a stripper, because it is not going into a club and being yourself and being vulnerable and letting that draw people in. That's exactly what it isn't. Not that that's bad, that's just not who I am. And so I was a really terrible stripper, and I was developing a drinking problem is what was happening. And so she was like, dude, have you ever thought about doing porn? And I was like, I don't have boobies. I am a very regular looking girl. I love to eat. I fluctuate. I'm never the same looking. No, dude, I've never thought about doing porn. I can't do porn. My family's gonna find out. I have a birthmark on my stomach. Everyone's gonna know. All these reasons, every reason why I'd never thought about it, which was complete bullshit because I totally had thought about it and just never thought about it as an actual career and business and choice that I could make for myself. And she was like, go find an agent and figure out what would work for you. There are so many avenues. You know, you don't have to have sex with everyone. You can pick who you have sex with. You can decide where you want to live and what you want to do and what choices you want to make. And it's very much up to you. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I could look into this. I then emailed pictures of myself to every agency, every single one, with fingers crossed, being someone who understood that they were very athletic and in shape and comfortable with that, but had zero self-esteem. Like, you were not going to catch me in a bikini. You were not going to, I wasn't that girl. I was sexy in the dark of my own room with whoever. That's when I was sexy. I was not outside of that. And I was like, okay, I guess we'll see what happens. The next day, every single agent had written me back. And they were like, come work with us, come do this, come to LA. And I'm like, oh my God, LA, I can't go to LA. I had a coach that told me, you never go to LA until they call you. And I'm sitting here 22 years old, and LA is calling me a lot. Every day, somebody new. And so I went and I interviewed, and I picked an agency that I was with for about 5 years. And I created a persona that allowed me to discover more about myself And it was the best decision I've made in my life so far. I have definitely become more fluid and educated about the types of people that I like to be intimate with, but also what I like them to do with me or to me. For example, when I masturbate, I use a belt to choke myself because I like having oxygen taken away and given back and taken away and given back. It puts me more out of control. And that's hard to achieve when you're masturbating alone, because you're in control of everything. I like to flip over in doggy when I masturbate because I'm no longer in control of the amount of pressure I'm putting into my body with a Hitachi or my hands or whatever. I'm too into it to control what that pressure feels like. And I've discovered over time through my career and in my private life that the reason for rough sex, for pain, for eye contact, dominance, all these different variations of sex always tie into how vulnerable can I get. And for me, the more I can willingly surrender, I get more and more and more vulnerable. And that's an evolution that I think reveals itself in so many different ways. And I hope continues to. So far, it continues to. I think that there are a lot of misconceptions just because a mass portion of people aren't necessarily educated about feminine, female sexuality. I think that we all know that men get off when they put their dick inside something, and friction happens for long enough, however they need. You can do that with their hand. You know, there's lots of things that we know there, but it's almost still taboo because female orgasms are never put first. And that fascinates me because everything that we're taught is that the woman is first. After you, let me come get your door for you, except for when it comes to sex. You're just kind of, if you get off, it's by association to the situation. And I think that that is really lame. Through discovering how very queer I am, and all of the intimate encounters I've had with women, or trans women or other feminine creatures alike, I have found that really straight men are the ones that are ignorant to female satisfaction, which again is fascinating to me because before I really knew I was gay, I was obsessed with how to get men off. What did I need to do? How could I be irresistible and satisfactory? And part of that's because I love to be that way with anybody that I'm with. And the other part of that is because I think it innately felt like my job to do that. And I'm not sure why, but I think that it has a lot to do with misconceptions about the female body. I think that I've learned the ability to say, no, here, or keep doing that, or let me do it, are things that I wish more women felt comfortable doing because that's what men do. I mean, I think we're all familiar with a head push. I think that we all know what it's like to burn your thighs out bouncing around on top of something. And I'm not afraid to make my partners, or the person that I'm with work with my body. And I trust that that's what they want to do, just like I know that that's what I wanted to do. So I think that it's really easy to blame, in my head, from my perspective, straight men. But I also think that when I learned how to communicate what I want, I was so reckless before I entered the porn industry, and porn taught me how to be responsible and how to take care of my body as a woman, because that's not something you learn. That is not something they teach you in sex education at any point in your life. That's not in any reading manual or site online, unless it's from porn. For example, I didn't know what BV was. I didn't know that your vagina is not supposed to have a scent that is potent. I had no idea, and nobody around me knew either. And I came into porn, and the girls were like, dude, put some boric acid in your pussy. And I was like, oh my God, it's a whole new world. That's how you take care of that. Great. Good to know. I didn't know that it was okay to go get tested. I didn't know that you go get tested when everything is fine to make sure everything stays fine. I thought you go get tested when you thought something was wrong, which is wrong. Go get tested. That's the biggest piece of advice I have, because that's so much bigger than you and your own body. That affects the world, literally. That's not an exaggeration. I sleep with so many people, and always have. And the best way that I can care about somebody else is taking care of my body and going to get tested and making sure that they go get tested. I had a loft bed, and underneath the loft bed, there was like my whole universe, my bean bag, all of my lyrics, everything that I'd write, my boom box, and this massage chair. And I remember listening to music, sitting on this super cool massage chair, reading the dirty stories in the back of a magazine that I somehow convinced my parents to buy for me. And seeing in there something about a vibrator, and I had no idea what it was. And almost instantaneously, as I'm reading about the vibrator and looking at the pictures, I'm like, I bet that feels similar to these little things in the massage chair that massage you. And then I ripped it open and I pulled out these really hot little tiny like triangle things that were vibrating very quickly, and they were really hot. And immediately pressing them against me everywhere that I could, against my nipples, against my clit, against anything on me that brought out a lot of sensation. And that was the first time I ever had an orgasm on purpose at that I can remember. Every single day. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't come at least twice a day, whether it's by myself or with somebody else. And most of the time it's by myself. And here's the thing. Whether it's from doing it all of the time or just because I enjoy the activity, I reset every time that I spend a little time with myself and I let myself come. I don't think that it's necessarily just a health thing, and it's not just a mental thing, but it's a thing that I like to do, so I do it. And my body is ever changing. It's how I stay familiar with myself. It's how I release myself. It's a form of self-love, not just for the obvious reasons, but because I deserve to come. And I'm not always going to leave that pressure up to somebody else. I can do it. I'm really good at it. Probably the best there is because I know my body. Well, first I would say that is completely normal. Everybody has a period of time that they feel insecure about their body or about what they want or about getting to know themselves. But just let it be a period of time. Don't let it extend. Don't let it turn into, I don't know myself sexually, into I don't know myself. I would advise you to disappear and learn to be comfortable alone and to start by touching your body the way that you want to be touched by somebody else. And it's a journey. It's not a destination that you just show up to. It's a journey. It's going to take time. Maybe it doesn't work the first few times that you do it, and it's not a magic trick. It's going to take a little bit to get to know yourself, especially if you're uncomfortable. Do everything you can to make yourself comfortable. If you have to turn every light out and get under your covers, do that. If you need to have your friend go with you to go buy a vibrator, do that. If you need to order one secretly, do that. If you need to lay under a faucet and let the water do it for you, do that. I highly recommend you do that. Masturbating is your own special time. And the more time that you give yourself, the better the time that you spend with other people is going to be.
What a beautiful way to summarize that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. I, as always, appreciate getting any chance to speak with you and to hear what you have to say, and I know our audience feels the same. I think we might go do something now that we are just finished talking about. So I will go ahead and invite you to come off the set.
Okay, here I come.